The Power of Now introduces the concept that true happiness and enlightenment can only be found by living fully in the present moment. Tolle emphasizes that our minds often distract us with thoughts about the past and future, leading to unnecessary pain and suffering. He argues that these distractions create an illusion of separation from our true selves and the world around us. In the introduction, Tolle challenges readers to recognize that they are not their minds. Rather, they are the consciousness that observes thoughts. He asserts that by surrendering to the present moment and accepting it without resistance, individuals can transcend their ego-driven identities and connect with a deeper sense of being. This state of presence allows for genuine experiences of joy, peace, and fulfillment. Tolle also highlights the importance of acknowledging and embracing discomfort as part of the journey toward inner peace. By doing so, one can transform suffering into acceptance and ultimately into a state of tranquility. This book serves as a guide to help you navigate your internal landscapes, encouraging you to let go of mental constructs and fully engage with the now, which he describes as the only reality that truly exists. In Chapter 1 titled, "You Are Not Your Mind," Eckhart Tolle emphasizes the distinction between a person's thoughts and their true self. He argues that many individuals over-identify with their thoughts, which he refers to as the voice in the head. This voice often perpetuates negative feelings and creates a distorted view of reality, leading to emotional suffering. Tolle introduces the concept of watching the thinker, encouraging readers to observe their thoughts without judgment. By doing so, individuals can create distance between themselves and their thoughts, recognizing that they are not defined by them. This practice helps activate a higher level of consciousness, allowing access to a deeper sense of being that transcends mental noise. He highlights that the present moment is crucial for liberation from mental suffering. Tolle asserts that true joy and peace come from within and are accessible when one learns to detach from the incessant chatter of the mind. The chapter serves as a foundational insight into the book's overarching theme, that freedom and fulfillment lie in embracing the present moment rather than being trapped in past regrets or future anxieties. In Chapter 2 of The Power of Now, titled Consciousness, The Way Out of Pain, Eckhart Tolle explores the relationship between consciousness and emotional pain. He emphasizes that much of human suffering arises from the mind's tendency to dwell on past experiences and future uncertainties, which creates a cycle of pain and discontent. Tolle introduces the idea that pain is often linked to the ego, which thrives on negative emotions and reinforces feelings of separation and suffering. He explains that by becoming more aware of one's thoughts and emotions, essentially practicing mindfulness, individuals can begin to break free from this cycle. This heightened awareness allows people to observe their pain without becoming overwhelmed by it, fostering a sense of detachment. This chapter also discusses the importance of accepting the present moment, regardless of its circumstances. Tolle argues that resistance to what is creates additional suffering. By embracing acceptance, individuals can transform their relationship with pain, allowing it to be seen as an opportunity for growth and healing rather than a burden. Ultimately, Tolle encourages readers to cultivate a state of consciousness that transcends the ego, leading to inner peace and a deeper connection with life. This shift in perspective is presented as essential for overcoming emotional pain and achieving a more fulfilling existence. Chapter 3, titled Moving Deeply into the Now, Tolle emphasizes the importance of fully immersing oneself in the present moment, which he describes as the only true reality. He argues that both the past and future are illusions that distract us from experiencing life as it unfolds. Tolle asserts that the mind often operates on past conditioning and future projections, leading to a distorted sense of self and an inability to appreciate the present. Tolle provides practical methods for accessing the now, such as focusing on one's breath and observing thoughts without attachment. He highlights that awareness is crucial in recognizing how the mind resists presence through distractions and avoidance strategies. By actively returning to the present, individuals can dissolve mental noise and experience inner stillness. He also discusses the futility of seeking one's true self through intellectual analysis, as this only reinforces egoic patterns. Instead, Tolle encourages readers to cultivate a state of being that transcends mental constructs, allowing them to experience inherent joy and peace. This chapter concludes with a reminder that true transformation occurs in the now, where individuals can find liberation from suffering and connect with their deeper essence. In Chapter 4 of The Power of Now, titled Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now, Eckhart Tolle delves into the various ways the mind creates distractions to avoid experiencing the present moment. He identifies several common strategies that people use to escape the now, including excessive thinking, dwelling on the past, and worrying about the future. Tolle explains that these mental habits stem from the ego's need for identity and control, which ultimately leads to suffering. Tolle emphasizes that the mind often seeks to find meaning and security in external circumstances, which can create a false sense of self. He encourages readers to recognize these avoidance strategies and to understand that they contribute to a cycle of unhappiness and discontent. By becoming aware of these patterns, individuals can begin to break free from them. This chapter also highlights the importance of acceptance and surrendering to the present moment as a means of overcoming mental resistance. Tolle suggests that embracing what is, without judgment or desire for change, allows individuals to experience peace and clarity. Ultimately, Tolle urges readers to cultivate mindfulness and presence in their daily lives. By doing so, they can diminish the power of the mind's avoidance tactics and reconnect with their true essence, leading to a more fulfilling and conscious existence. The State of Presence, which is Chapter 5 title, Eckhart Tolle explores the profound nature of being present and its essential role in spiritual awakening. He emphasizes that true presence transcends intellectual understanding and cannot be fully grasped through thought. Instead, it must be experienced directly. Tolle discusses the importance of observing one's thoughts without attachment, which allows individuals to enter a state of conscious presence. By becoming the observer, one can witness thoughts as they arise and pass away, reducing their power over emotional states and fostering a sense of inner stillness. This practice helps to anchor individuals in the present moment, freeing them from the distractions and dramas created by the mind. He also introduces the concept of connecting with the inner body, which refers to the subtle sensations within oneself. This connection serves as a grounding mechanism that enhances awareness and deepens the experience of presence. Tolle encourages readers to embrace this inner aliveness, as it facilitates a more profound engagement with the now. Overall, Tolle asserts that liberation and transformation are found in this state of presence, where one can experience life fully without the interference of past regrets or future anxieties. This chapter serves as a guide for cultivating mindfulness and being fully aware in each moment, leading to a richer, more fulfilling existence. In Chapter 6 of The Power of Now, titled The Inner Body, Eckhart Tolle emphasizes the significance of connecting with the physical body as a means to access the present moment and achieve spiritual awakening. He introduces the concept of the inner body, which refers to the subtle sensations and energy within oneself. Tolle explains that by focusing on these bodily sensations, individuals can transcend their identification with the mind and ego, facilitating a deeper experience of presence. Tolle critiques cultural attitudes that stigmatize the body, particularly regarding sexuality, and argues that true transformation cannot occur through neglect or punishment of the body. Instead, he asserts that embracing the body and its sensations can serve as a portal to the unmanifested, or the source of all life. He encourages readers to cultivate an awareness of their inner body through practices such as meditation and mindfulness, which can help dissolve mental distractions and foster a sense of peace. This chapter also addresses the illusion of self that arises from identifying solely with physical form, suggesting that liberation comes from recognizing one's true essence beyond the ego. Tolle highlights that this state of being is characterized by an absence of fear and a profound sense of connection to life itself. Overall, Chapter 6 serves as a guide for readers to explore their inner experience, encouraging them to use bodily awareness as a pathway to deeper presence and spiritual fulfillment. In Chapter 7 of The Power of Now, titled Portals into the Unmanifested, Eckhart Tolle introduces the concept of the unmanifested, a realm beyond thought and form that serves as the source of creativity and spiritual renewal. He emphasizes that accessing this hidden dimension of consciousness can lead to profound insights and a deeper connection with life. Tolle identifies various portals through which individuals can enter the unmanifested, including heightened sensory awareness, mindfulness of the inner body, and moments when thought ceases. By engaging with these portals, one can transcend the limitations imposed by the mind and ego, allowing for a richer experience of existence. This chapter also discusses the significance of surrendering to life's flow rather than resisting it. Tolle encourages readers to accept what is beyond their control, which fosters inner peace and freedom from emotional suffering. He highlights that living in the present moment is essential for connecting with this deeper state of being, as it allows individuals to experience life more fully. Tolle suggests practical exercises such as spending time in nature and deepening awareness of bodily sensations to facilitate this connection. By cultivating these practices, individuals can quiet their minds and remain anchored in the present, ultimately unlocking their full potential and enhancing their spiritual journey. We're diving deep into Chapter 8 of The Power of Now, titled Enlightened Relationships. This chapter is absolutely transformative, so grab your notebooks and let's explore these powerful insights together. Tolle starts this chapter with a bomb revelation. Most relationship problems arise because we're seeking something from others that we should find within ourselves. Mind-blowing, right? He explains that relationships often become battlegrounds because we're trying to find ourselves through them. Let's break down the major concepts. First, Tolle talks about love-hate relationships. You know those relationships where intense love can quickly turn to savage hostility? He explains that this happens because we're addicted to the drama. The ego actually feeds off this emotional roller coaster. When we're unconscious, we mistake drama for love. Here's a truth bomb. Tolle says true love has no opposite. If your love can turn to hate, it wasn't love to begin with, it was ego attachment. Real love is found in the space of presence, where there's no neediness or fear of loss. Now let's talk about addiction to relationships. Tolle explains that many of us use relationships to avoid facing our inner emptiness. We think another person can fill our void, but that's impossible. Only presence can fill that space. When we realize this, our relationships transform from dependency to sharing. One of the most powerful parts is where Tolle discusses how relationships can be our spiritual practice. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice presence. Those triggering moments, they're actually gifts showing us where we need to grow. Family, check this out. Tolle introduces the concept of space consciousness in relationships. It's about allowing space between you and your partner, not being completely enmeshed. This space is an emotional distance. It's conscious presence that actually brings true intimacy. Let's talk about that deep wisdom about women's role in consciousness evolution. Tolle explains that women are naturally more connected to their bodies and being, making them potentially closer to enlightenment. However, the female pain body can be intense due to centuries of collective suffering. For the men watching, Tolle offers crucial insights about masculine energy. He explains how men often get lost in mind patterns and need to learn to access their feelings and intuition more. It's about balancing those masculine and feminine energies within ourselves. Here's a game-changing concept. Tolle teaches that true freedom in relationships comes when we stop making others responsible for our happiness. When we find peace within ourselves first, our relationships become expressions of joy rather than demands for fulfillment. The chapter also addresses sexuality. Tolle explains how presence can transform sexual relationships from ego-based to sacred experiences. When we bring consciousness to our intimate moments, they become portals to the divine. Now, about those difficult relationships, Tolle doesn't suggest running away from them. Instead, he teaches us to use them as opportunities for awakening. Every button pushed is showing us where we need to grow in consciousness. Here's a practical tip Tolle shares. When you're triggered in a relationship, pause and feel the emotion in your body without the mental story. This practice helps break the unconscious patterns that cause relationship problems. This chapter emphasizes the importance of giving space in relationships. Not just physical space, but emotional and spiritual space too. When we allow others to be as they are, without trying to change them, true love can flourish. Tolle introduces a powerful practice, bringing presence into daily interactions. Whether it's with your partner, family, or colleagues, each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice conscious relating. About relationship problems, Tolle makes it clear all problems are created by the ego. When we drop into presence, we see that most of our problems are just mental constructs. The real relationship exists in the now, not in our thoughts about it. Let's talk about that amazing section on forgiveness. Tolle explains that true forgiveness happens naturally in the present moment. When we're present, we realize there's nothing to forgive. Everything was part of the unconsciousness of humanity. This chapter concludes with hope. As more people awaken to presence, relationships will transform from sources of pain to expressions of consciousness. We're part of this evolutionary shift. We're exploring Chapter 9 of The Power of Now, titled Beyond Happiness and Unhappiness, There is Peace. This chapter is absolutely transformative. So let's dive into these profound insights together. Tolle begins by challenging our conventional understanding of happiness. He says what most people call happiness is actually just pleasure, temporary and dependent on external circumstances. True happiness, or rather peace, is something much deeper. Let's break down this wisdom. Tolle introduces the concept of the peace that passes all understanding. This isn't just feeling good. It's a deep state of being that exists beyond the duality of happy and unhappy. Mind-blowing, right? The chapter dives into why we struggle with accepting what is. Tolle explains that our resistance to the present moment creates most of our suffering. When we fight against what is, we create inner turmoil. But here's the beautiful truth. When we fully accept the now, we find peace. Here's a powerful concept. Tolle talks about the difference between pleasure and peace. Pleasure comes and goes, but peace is constant. It's like the deep ocean. Storms may rage on the surface, but depths remain undisturbed. Family, check this out. Tolle introduces the idea of good news that's bad news and bad news that's good news. Everything that happens can lead us to presence if we allow it. Even painful experiences can be doorways to awakening. Let's talk about surrender, not as weakness, but as spiritual power. Tolle explains that true surrender isn't giving up or becoming passive. It's inner acceptance of what is, which paradoxically gives us more power to change things effectively. The chapter addresses how we create unnecessary suffering through non-acceptance. You know those moments when something bad happens and we resist it mentally? That resistance creates more pain than the actual situation. Here's a game-changing insight. Tolle explains that peace isn't something we achieve. It's what remains when we stop creating conflict internally. It's our natural state when we're free of mental noise. Tolle introduces 3 ways to bring peace into any situation: acceptance, enjoyment, enthusiasm. He explains that at least one of these should be present in everything we do. If not, we're creating suffering for ourselves and others. Now, about those challenging life situations, Tolle doesn't suggest we ignore problems. Instead, he teaches us to face them from a place of presence. When we're present, we respond with clarity instead of reacting from conditioning. The chapter explores the relationship between peace and creativity. When we're at peace, we access a deeper intelligence. Solutions flow naturally, and our actions become more effective. Here's a profound truth. Peace isn't dependent on anything external. Tolle explains that waiting for conditions to be perfect before finding peace is like waiting for the waves to stop before entering the ocean. Let's talk about that amazing section on transforming suffering. Tolle explains that when we fully accept what is, suffering transforms into peace. The situation might not change, but our relationship to it completely shifts. The chapter emphasizes the importance of finding peace in the ordinary moments. It's not about waiting for special experiences. It's about being present with whatever is happening right now. Tolle introduces a powerful practice, feeling the inner body while doing everyday activities. This anchors us in presence and helps maintain peace regardless of external circumstances. About life challenges, Tolle makes it clear they're inevitable, but suffering is optional. When we meet challenges with presence, they become opportunities for spiritual growth. The chapter also addresses the misconception that peace means passivity. Tolle explains that true peace is dynamic and alert. It's not about withdrawing from life, but engaging with it more fully. Here's a practical insight. Tolle teaches that peace becomes a bridge to new circumstances. When we're peaceful, we make better decisions and attract more positive situations. Some key practices from this chapter. Accept the present moment completely. Feel the inner body throughout the day. Choose peace before happiness. Transform suffering through presence. Find peace in ordinary activities. Act from stillness rather than reaction. Remember, family, this isn't about forcing ourselves to be peaceful. It's about recognizing the peace that's already there beneath our mental noise. I love how Tolle emphasizes that peace is our natural state. We don't need to achieve it. We just need to stop disturbing it with our thinking mind. For those going through challenges right now, remember, peace is available in this moment. Drop into presence, feel what's arising, and let peace emerge naturally. The chapter concludes with hope. As we discover peace within ourselves, we contribute to the peace of the world. Each person who finds inner peace becomes a. Finally, we've come into the final chapter of The Power of Now, Chapter 10, titled The Meaning of Surrender. This is where Tolle brings everything together in a powerful conclusion. Let's explore these transformative teachings. Let me break down this incredible chapter that ties together all the wisdom we've been exploring. Tolle starts by addressing what true surrender really means, and it's not what most people think. First, let's clear up a huge misconception. Surrender isn't about giving up, being passive, or letting people walk all over you. Tolle explains that true surrender is an inner acceptance of what is. It's about dropping resistance to the present moment. Mind-blowing, right? Here's the powerful truth bomb Tolle drops. Resistance to what is creates suffering, while surrender opens the door to inner peace. When we fight against the present moment, we create inner conflict. But when we surrender, we align with the power of life itself. Let's talk about that amazing section on surrendering to illness, disability, or death. Tolle explains that even in these challenging situations, inner surrender transforms our experience completely. It doesn't mean we don't seek treatment or take action. It means we accept the reality of the current moment while taking appropriate steps. Check this out. Tolle introduces the concept of surrender in personal relationships. He explains how dropping our mental positions and defensive patterns can completely transform our connections with others. When we surrender our need to be right, real communication becomes possible. The chapter dives deep into transforming suffering through surrender. Tolle shares that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. When we fully accept what is, even pain becomes a portal to deeper presence. Here's a game-changing concept. Tolle talks about surrendering to the now as a gateway to spiritual realization. Every time we accept the present moment fully, we align with the power of life itself. Let's break down some practical aspects Tolle shares about surrender. Accept situations you cannot change. Take action from a place of acceptance. Release mental and emotional resistance. Allow the present moment to be as it is. Drop the inner argument with reality. The chapter addresses how surrender relates to manifestation and creating what we want. Tolle explains that true power comes when we accept what is before trying to change anything. Now, about those challenging emotions, Tolle provides beautiful guidance on surrendering to what we feel. Instead of fighting negative emotions, we learn to be present with them, which naturally transforms them. Here's a profound insight. Tolle explains that surrender isn't something we do, it's the absence of resistance. It's like relaxing a tense muscle. We're not doing something, we're stopping doing something. The chapter explores the relationship between surrender and energy. When we stop resisting life, we tap into an enormous amount of energy that was previously locked in resistance. Tolle introduces what he calls complete surrender, moments when we totally accept what is without any mental commentary. These moments become doorways to enlightenment. Let's talk about that powerful section on death. Tolle explains that our fear of death comes from resistance to life. When we fully surrender to life, the fear of death naturally dissolves. The chapter emphasizes that surrender is always to the present moment, not to a person or situation. This distinction is crucial. We're not becoming doormats. We're aligning with life itself. Here's a beautiful practice Tolle shares. Whenever you notice resistance, consciously relax into acceptance. This simple but profound practice can transform your entire life experience. About life's challenges, Tolle makes it clear, surrender doesn't mean we can't take action. Instead, we act from a place of acceptance rather than resistance, making our actions more powerful and effective. Some key teachings from this final chapter. True surrender is inner acceptance. Resistance creates suffering. Surrender unleashes life energy. Accept before you act. Use challenges as opportunities for surrender. Let go of mental positions. Remember, this isn't about becoming passive. It's about accessing true power through acceptance of what is. I love how Tolle concludes by reminding us that surrender is the simplest yet most profound wisdom we can realize. It's available to everyone at any moment. For those struggling with difficult situations, remember, surrender doesn't mean you approve of the situation. It means you accept its existence in this moment, which gives you clarity to respond effectively. The chapter beautifully concludes the entire book by bringing us back to the power of now. Through surrender, we access the timeless dimension of presence. Kindly drop a comment below sharing how you'll practice surrender in your daily life. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spiritual wisdom. This concludes our journey through the power of now, but our exploration of presence continues. Until next time, stay present, stay surrendered, and remember, the power is always in the now. Peace out, family. Sparkle's folded hands. What's your biggest takeaway from this final chapter? How has the power of now transformed your life? Share in the comments below. Remember, the journey doesn't end with the book. It's just beginning. Keep practicing presence and surrender in your daily life, and watch the magic unfold.